What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. This video is going to be covering Asia session. I've gotten a lot of people who message me saying that they've watched my videos. They're like, I've gone through your content, I've learned the concepts, but I still struggle to understand the model. And so this video is specifically going to be focused on the model. And you guys know my model is in Asia session. The reason why I trade Asia session is the first session of the day. And today I'm going to be breaking down exactly everything you need to know to trade Asia session, to know whether it's a session that will work for you or whether it's a session that you shouldn't trade at all. So without further ado, let's get straight into this video. Now, before we get into this video, I just wanted to say that I traded with Legacy Funded Futures, which is this prop firm right here. And I just wanted to say you can get funded up to 450K in capital. It's the best futures prop firm that's out there before, and I've traded with a lot of futures prop firms in the past. The reason why I say that is because we have the best trading community there. The prices are amazing. And unlike any of the other prop firms during this volatile time, we have not cracked down on any regulations. So if you guys want to get an account, the link will be in the description. Just use code MARK at checkout for a discount. And remember, you're not alone when it comes to actually passing your account, because we have 4 daily live streams in the Legacy Funded Discord. Including myself, we cover New York, Power Hour, Asia session, and London session. So no matter what your time zone is or what your availability is, there's going to be a session that you can join and learn from. So not only are we the best prop firm out there right now in the future space, but we also have the best trading community. I don't think I've seen that from anywhere else, where we actually trade every single session live with you guys. So with that being said, let's hop straight into this video. Now, as I said in the beginning of the video, the thing about Asia session is that it's the first session of the day. And what that means is every single day we get a new daily candle. And if you can trade Asia session, you're pretty much catching the daily candle from the very first move, the very first expansion of the day. So let's pay attention to what happens from the previous day, right? We have Asia, London, New York, and they added a new update which I didn't know about. It kind of slows things down in terms of the replay mode, because it prints every candle as it actually moves, which is very cool for like learning purposes. But when I'm trying to speed through it, it's kind of inconvenient. You guys can see that we're approaching the new day, and boom, right there we have pre-market Asia session. So pre-market right now, or pre-Asia session, we have pretty much no session. It's just when the previous daily candle closes and we get this new daily candle. Now, Asia session starts at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So right now it opens at 3 p.m. This is when the new daily candle opens, 3 p.m. That's when we get a new daily candle open right there. And we get the expansion of the very first session, which is when the daily candle begins to move in Asia session. Now, one of the things that you guys need to write down, I'm going to take notes as we go. So bullet point number 1, it's the first session of the day. Now, what does that mean for us? What does that mean that it's the first session of the day? How does that actually help us? And I'm going to answer your question very clearly and simply. If you're trading the first session of the day, you get to catch the daily candle from the low. Now, let's imagine that today we're extremely bullish. If the daily candle, like every candle on the chart that you will see, has a wick, you just wait. If the narrative is bullish, right, you're waiting for it to take out all this liquidity. There's some daily gap up here that the market's targeting. You know that it's going to go up. All you have to do is wait for it to run down, create a wick below the open, and then you catch the expansion. So Asia session is not only the first session of the day, but it's the best session to potentially catch an entry. So not only is it the first session of the day, but it's also the best time to catch an entry from the bottom of the move. Now, don't get too excited and go try to hop in based off of what your narrative is. This does not mean that the market isn't going to calm down later in the day, but it does mean that if it does only go up as it did in this daily candle, then likely you're going to catch the move from the very bottom and it's not going to come back. So this is actually one of my favorite sessions where I actually started swing trading, understanding that if I can leave even a partial or 2 on my position and the move happens to go on much longer, I am catching the very beginning of the daily candle, and those partials are going to print just as much as I secured on the actual move, if not even more. So the third bullet point that I want you guys to make is best session to catch a swing trade. And another supporting point in this being the best session to catch a swing trade is nowadays a lot of people, including Legacy Funded Futures, are trading on futures prop firms. And most futures prop firms, they close at around 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's when the market closes and they don't allow you to place or close any more positions. So if you're trading in New York session, how are you supposed to catch a swing trade that you can hold for longer than a few hours, right? New York session may start early morning. Most people start trading it at like 7 a.m. and you have until 1 p.m. You're not always going to be able to actually catch a swing move. But if you start from Asia session, even on a futures prop firm, you can hold your position overnight into New York session and catch the whole duration of the daily candle. So if you like taking that swing trading approach, using less risk, going for more, Asia session is the perfect session for you. Now on the downside, what is something that you should know about Asia session that is going to point you to not trading it? One of those things, and one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of rookies make, especially nowadays, that a lot of people are trading gold during Asia session. So for those of you guys that don't know, XAU USD, this is gold, right? This is the price of gold right here, 5,192. And this is gold. This is the pair that I personally trade. This is the only pair that I personally trade, and the pair that I've traded for the last 6 years in Asia session. A lot of people trade NASDAQ, and they put a lot of beginners on NASDAQ. Pretty much, if you are trying to trade NASDAQ, you should not be trading it during Asia session. And let me explain it for you real quick. The reason why there's 3 different sessions is because these are all for different time zones. The Asia session means that the Asian banks are being opened. So pairs correlated with JPY or any like other yen, like the Chinese yen, are going to be moving. That's when their banks open, that's when their money's being circulated. London session is typically for the Great British Pound or the Euro, so pairs correlated with those two are going to be moving during London session, and New York is the USD based pair. Now, why does gold move during Asia session if that is the case, right? The reason why it moves is because gold is also known as a safe haven asset, which means if the dollar or the Japanese yen or anything is weak, is declining, then that means a lot of people are going to be putting their money into something that can't decline in value. Like, it can go down, but it's a physical, tangible asset that you can sell at any time, right? It's gold, silver. Those are safe haven assets that, especially now during these war news, are going to be flying to the absolute moon. So one of those things that you need to know about Asia session is that you cannot trade Asia session on NASDAQ. And the reason why that is because NASDAQ is a USD based pair. It moves most during New York session, and even if once in a blue moon you do catch a beautiful trade during Asia session on NASDAQ, it's like fishing in a pond that has maybe 3 fish, right? You might catch a fish occasionally, but there's only 3 fish there. You might catch 3 trades the entire month. It's not something you can rely on and consistently come into Asia session on NASDAQ and find a trade, because let me show you the chart on NASDAQ during Asia session. So here I pulled up the NASDAQ charts, NAS 100, and I'm going to show you during Asia session most of the time that it pretty much just consolidates. So here we got a little move. Again, it's the start of the daily candle, so oftentimes we do get an expansion, but then we started consolidating. Let's take a look at the previous day Asia session. Consolidations. Let's keep moving. Consolidation. Take a look and compare the Asia range compared to the New York session range. Now, would you rather be trading during this Asia range that will pretty much not give you any trades, or trade during this New York range that actually expands over and over again? Why? Because it's a USD based pair. Let's keep looking at Asia session. No expansion, right? Another Asia session, very weak expansion compared to the New York expansion. Here we get an expansion, but then start consolidating. Consolidation. No volatility. Do not trade NASDAQ during Asia session. It's a beginner mistake that a lot of people make, and oftentimes I see people posting about a trade that they caught during Asia session on NASDAQ, and it often just gives people the wrong perception that you can trade NASDAQ during Asia session. You cannot reliably come into Asia session and try to find a trade on NASDAQ. Do not do it. Do not be deceived by the trade that you get once in a blue moon. So here we are back on the gold pair, and you can see that the Asia ranges on gold are typically actually expanding. We're actually getting a big expansion at the start of the day. Similarly, this is also going to happen on most JPY pairs. So for example, a Forex pair like USD JPY, you're going to get the same exact thing on USD JPY or Euro JPY, any pairs that are correlated with the Japanese yen or any other Asia currency, because this is the Asia session. So you want to be trading a pair that's correlated with Asia session. So number 4 bullet point that you guys are going to write down is Asia session is not for NASDAQ. Only trade pairs that are correlated with JPY. And you can write down another bullet point. Gold is a safe haven asset. Now let's slow down a little bit and actually talk about how you can trade Asia session. So one of the things that you're going to be missing, and a crucial component of Asia session that a lot of people teach and oftentimes beginners once again misunderstand, is most NASDAQ traders look at previous session highs and lows, especially the Asia session highs and lows. When you're starting to trade from Asia session, you're not going to have those previous session highs and lows to look at. Instead, what you're going to use is the previous day high or low. So you're not going to have previous session. What you are going to have is the previous daily candle actually closes, and now you're trading inside of that new daily candle. So sweeping out the previous day low and targeting the high is a valuable strategy that you can actually incorporate into your trading system. Now, another key bullet point that you guys are going to want to learn is that every candle has a wick. Now, why this is important is because, as I said, every candle has a wick. So whenever we don't have a wick, this is one of the biggest turnoffs when it comes to trading Asia session for me, is if we expand the daily range without a wick. It will almost always come back into a no wick zone. So if you see a daily candle that ends up expanding without a wick, you should probably not go in for longs unless you're extremely confident. Like right now, we're probably going to get war news. We're probably going to open gap up and just continue to expand up. But that's an unusual circumstance. In most situations, if we end up opening without a wick, usually inside of the same daily candle, we're actually going to come in. Either it be later in Asia session, whether it be in London or New York session, we typically will always come back to create a wick. And the reason why is because every single candle has a wick. So whenever it doesn't have a wick, this will be an area of interest for the market to then come back into this area before heading higher. And this will happen over and over again. For the years that I've been trading, the no wick candle has been one of the best confluences that I've used because it's always a magnet that pulls price back down. And most of the time, if it's the real move, it's actually not going to leave any inefficiencies behind, which means it'll come back, create a wick, it'll come back, fill up all the fair value gaps before expanding higher. And I think the 7th bullet point is one of your most important things that you should look for when it comes to trading the Asia session. And now the reason why that is for example, let's imagine that yesterday's daily range was this candle. So we're going to be trading inside of this daily candle. Pretty much if you have this narrative where on the daily time frame, you see that we left a no wick behind, we created a new fair value gap, and we also closed above a daily bearish FVG and created an IFVG, and we tapped into all of those right here. Coming into the next daily candle, you're going to be bullish, right? And this is very significant because you have to know where the daily candle is heading in order to trade Asia session properly. Remember, if it's a start of the day and we're going to continue to expand from Asia session, you're going to want to know where it's going to expand to, whether you're looking for a bottom wick and then you hop in long, or whether you're looking for a top wick and then you're heading into shorts. So inside of Asia session, you have to know the daily narrative. Daily narrative is very important. So let's scale down to the lower time frame and just see it play out. I want you guys to see when we get this new daily candle right here, we created this wick towards sell side and then we ran up, got confirmation for buys. We knew that this previous daily candle that tapped into all these bullish zones was confirming a bullish narrative for the next day. And you can see this Asia session from the start of the day created a bearish wick right here, and that's where you would hop in those longs for price to then go higher, right? If your daily narrative is bullish, you're looking for buys in Asia session. This does not mean you have to hold it throughout the entire session into New York session. This means you catch a beautiful banger inside of Asia session, you leave some partials, and you call it a day. That's what I wanted to leave you guys off with in this video. First session of the day, it's the best time to catch an entry from the bottom of the move. But in order to do that, once again, come back to bullet point 7. Daily narrative is very important. If you want to catch the entry from the bottom of the move, you have to know where the daily candle is going to be expanding, where it's going to be aiming for. 3, it's the best session to catch a swing trade. Once again, if you do end up catching a trade from the bottom of this wick, then you are going to be able to hold it throughout all the sessions, right? So you take off partials and you just leave those little positions running until New York session. Asia session is not for NASDAQ. Remember, it's a JPY correlated pair. Remember, it's a JPY correlated session, so you want to be trading pairs like gold, pairs with JPY. And in terms of gold, gold is a safe haven asset. Even though it doesn't clearly state that it's a JPY based pair, there is an XAU JPY actually. But regardless, it's a safe haven asset that everybody is buying in general in the whole world. Whenever there's war news, people are going to be buying gold because that threatens their currencies. 6, every candle has a wick, so no wicks are very important. If your daily candle begins to expand without a wick, it will most likely come back in London session or New York session to create that wick, if not in the next day. And lastly, daily narrative is very important. If you want to catch this move, you're going to want to know where the daily candle is going, where the daily narrative is pointing towards. So if it's going bullish, you wait for it to create a bottom wick and then you catch buys towards the daily target. If it's bearish, you're going to wait for it to create a top wick and then you're going to catch sells down to the daily narrative. That's all I wanted to leave you guys off with. That's all that I wanted to leave you guys off with. If you guys genuinely enjoy the way that I teach and you want to take a more hands-on approach, I'm constantly taking on one-on-one students into a mentorship. You guys want me to hop in one-on-one calls with you where we start off with an education and move into live trading. The same stuff and the same style of teaching that I do in these videos, I do with my one-on-one students personally. We hop into one-on-one calls and at your own pace, I will guide you through all these concepts and creating a profitable model. Remember, you guys don't have to take my word for it. Join my free live streams that I do every single day. Watch me trade. Watch me constantly predict the market. If you guys want to work with me one-on-one, the application is also going to be linked in the description. Just put it in an application and me or my team will be reaching out to you to schedule a call. Now with that being put aside, make sure you guys are using code MARK at Legacy Funded Future, and I hope you guys have a better understanding of how you can trade the Asia session and if it's a pair that's even meant for the style of trading that you have. Remember, if you guys are trading NASDAQ, don't trade it during Asia session. With that being said, thank you guys for getting through this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.